Okay, this is a request video from one of my followers. They asked me to talk about online cyber gang stalking, and there are a few different ways that cyber stalking can happen, and we're going to talk about that. So this might be a longer video. Who am I kidding? It's going to be a longer video. Okay, so the experts seem to like to say that there really isn't a big problem with online cyber stalking, especially when it comes to gang stalking. They have not spent very much time online looking at these groups, though. So, are they really experts? I tend to think that anyone calling themselves an expert or deemed an expert probably isn't, because there's always more to learn. And just when you think you've learned everything, there's going to be new stuff popping up. And if you're trying to educate people on things, you're going to have blind spots. You're going to have things you know that you don't know, other people don't know, if that makes sense. I have experienced that with several things. So that's just a thing. So if someone says they're an expert, yeah, maybe they are, in theory. Probably not. So listen, you could be dealing with an ex who doesn't want to just let go. Let it go, let it go. No, they don't want to do that, okay? They want to continue. And a lot of the time, especially if they have a large platform, they will ring in their followers to help them with that stalking. And they will use them as fleas, flying monkeys. They'll utilize triangulation, all the things, right? So that's attached to DV. And yes, DV very easily turns into stalking. Now, with the gang stalking stuff, usually there's a core group of people at the very center. Those are the main people instigating everything and accelerating and just escalating everything and making it all worse. And a lot of the time, it's women who deal with this. Men can too, of course, but it seems to really be targeted more at women, successful women. The more successful you are, the more of a chance that you're going to have a gang stalking thing going on. And actually, I know several people on here who have dealt with that themselves. Some of them I've had to actually appear for in a Zoom call for court. Others I've just talked and chatted away about either things pertaining to what they're dealing with or something completely other, just to give them a break. Because when you're dealing with this kind of thing, it's a lot of stress. Why is it so stressful? Because every one of these different groups that I have looked at, and it's been a lot of them, okay? It's been a lot. Every single one, without fail, will try to get people's children taken away, their pets taken away, their housing taken away, if at all possible. Try to get their cars towed, try to swat them, try to get a ridiculous amount of food delivered to them that they probably don't even want. Will dox them, will try to get them fired from their jobs, will try to disrupt relationships with them, just every bad thing you can think of. But it's also kind of almost like they have a script that they follow. That's why I always tell people, try to keep your personal stuff offline. Like, don't put your real name out there if you can avoid it. Try to use a stage name and take precautions. For example, you're not going to find my address anywhere. And my real name is not online. And that is for a reason. So, yes, cyber gang stalking is a thing. It usually takes several years for experts to catch up with what is going on. It took forever to get any kind of traction with legislation for stalking in real life, let alone cyber stalking. And the way things are right now in the US, it's probably going to take even longer because of this administration. This administration is literally making it harder for people to find relief from, I guess you would call it, regular stalking. So, you know, this administration is making everything worse so far as DV stalking, cyber stalking, grape. It's getting worse and worse and worse. But there are things you can do. You can document everything as much as you can and say what you need to say, okay? And then don't say anything more. That's hard because you'll have the instinctive drive and urge to defend yourself. I have fallen into this before. It's really hard. It can be hard to just be like, yeah, no mas. I document everything and no mas after that. Because you just document, because guess what? In civil court, it is easier to get a judgment for the victim than it is in criminal court. And understand that a lot of attorneys will work pro bono and get their settlement at the end from the perpetrator, okay? So, but another thing to consider, along with speaking with an attorney about a civil situation, you can look at getting a stay-away order, either temporary or permanent. You always want to go for the permanent with things like this, though, right? Getting a stay-away order can be difficult, really difficult. And it really depends on where you are in the country, if you're in the U.S., or in the world. Anything legal depends on the local, state, and national laws that you're dealing with. Getting a stay-away order can be like pulling teeth. You could have a mountain of evidence and have a judge say, well, I don't think it's all that bad. Really? Emotional stress? Stalking can affect every aspect of your life. From your social network, because a lot of people pull back and kind of hibernate, especially if they're being doxxed and stuff like that, and you don't know if somebody's going to show up at your house. You don't know what's going on, right? Financial relationships with your significant other, your children, your friends, your whoever, your family, your parents, and all that. It can have a negative effect on every aspect of your life, and it is, yes, in fact, it is abuse. Okay? Gang stalking, gang cyber stalking is abuse. It is highly destructive, and it can become very cult-ish, very destructive, group-ish. Because when you're in one of those groups, if you say anything that core group of people doesn't like, then they might come after you, not just the person that the main person they're targeting. They can start targeting other people as well, and try to use the people who are outside of that core group like an army against whoever they don't like. So there's a lot of thought police and speech policing, and you have to think this way, you have to speak this way about this person, and if you say anything that they are doing that we are doing is wrong, well, now you're the enemy. And then your friends just stop talking to you. And they act like that core group within the larger group, which usually has one person at the very center who's the ringleader. That one person can get into all kinds of things like abuse by proxy, and that's the swatting and all of that, using law enforcement to further abuse the victim. Yeah, all the abuse tactics that you hear about in DV are used in these groups too. So gang stalking, cyber stalking, all of that is highly destructive. And if you're dealing with it, you are not alone. And this is a thing that is happening right now. And it's been happening for years. And I'm just trying to validate what you are experiencing right now. So, okay, that was almost the whole 10 minutes.